kindred on a major building project. That is a good idea. Simply go a bit farther. There you have it. On Mountain Men, Eustace Conway was a well-liked cast member. But despite what many people think, celebrity had caused him more problems than good fortune. Was all of this speculation? What is the reality show's secret? The rumors have been verified by Eustace. You can't even begin to imagine this revelation. So take a seat comfortably while we walk you through everything. Constructing the myth. We must first learn more about Eustace Conway before delving into the legends and history of mountain men. Elizabeth Gilbert's book, The Last American Man, is about the American naturalist Eustace Robinson Conway. Sarah Vowell decided to write about Eustace in Adventures in the Simple Life, which was featured on the weekly radio program This American Life with Ira Glass, after learning of his fame and popularity. The 1,000-acre Turtle Island Preserve near Boone, North Carolina, is also owned by Eustace. He appeared on the television program Mountain Men, which finally resulted in his death. Before we do that, let's look at his history. Eustace was not raised in the woods, despite what many people believe. Columbia, South Carolina, is where he was born. This is unexpected because Eustace doesn't behave like a Carolina native. He has 3 siblings as well. At the age of 17, he began his foray into the woods. He made the decision that he wanted something new and different because he had had enough of modernity. Conway left home to live in a teepee in the woods in pursuit of this. For many years after his departure, he donned clothing manufactured from buckskin. He gathered and created instruments during this time. Eustace was a young man full of courage. He had canoed 1,000 meters on the Mississippi River by the time he was 18. He kayaked the entire southern coast of Alaska among icebergs and whales, and after accomplishing this amazing feat, he walked the entire 2,000-mile Appalachian Trail across America. Records show that Eustace has backpacked more than 5,000 meters of stunning wilderness trails in North America, Central America, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. Did you just say hold on? There is more. The man who remained a legend in history, Eustace lived with numerous Indian tribes and loved it. Whenever he was with them, he celebrated their culture and made sure everyone knew about it. He also held positions as a state naturalist at Crowers Mountain Park in North Carolina and as a federal interpreter at Cho Canyon National Park in New Mexico. A man who loved everything about the earth, Eustace was regarded by many as a unique naturalist. He considered the air, the earth, and the natural environment to be sufficient gifts from the universe. This naturalist also did not miss the keen eyes of wildlife lovers, such as Sally Middleton, who told him on his 30th birthday that he was the most fascinating man he had ever met. Eustace has always been the one to pursue his aspirations and enjoy life to the fullest, thus this comment said a lot about his character. Similar to Thoreau, he had ventured into the woods to explore what lessons nature could impart, and he remained there for over 40 years, experiencing highs and lows but also learning a lot. Another interesting fact about Eustace is that despite his love of the woods, he was educated. One such instance was when he cut his thumb for a man in such pain. Going to the hospital should have been the right course of action, but instead he used plant medicine to heal it and sewed it back together with 12 stitches. After graduating from Appalachian State University, where he was recognized as the most outstanding anthropology senior, he also holds a degree in English. Dr. Harvard Ives, an anthropology professor, summed up Eustace's numerous pursuits by stating, "Eustace is an articulate student of life." For example, whenever he quotes Steve McQueen, he would smile broadly and remark, "I would rather wake up in the middle of nowhere than any city in the world more than life itself." Eustace loved his mountain heritage, and he believed so much in this. Everyone at the university knew that his favorite classroom was the one on nature. He also loved the rain and the cold. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. Eustace did the unthinkable while writing a book about the Appalachian mountain culture. Records show that he used only the materials that were harvested on the property to construct a fully accurate farmstead with 9 carefully constructed log buildings, and he trained his mules, horses, and bulls to plow the gardens and pull logs, sleds, and wagons. In addition, Eustace set a global record for the fastest equestrian ride from the Atlantic to the Pacific, which took 103 days. Later, the New York Times, Los Angeles Times and Bud and Me reported that the record for the fastest horseback ride across the North American continent was 60 days. According to reports, Bud and Temple Abernathy, who were 11 and 7 years old at the time, embarked on this journey in August 1911, riding an equestrian horse for 369 miles from New York City to San Francisco. In addition to setting a world record, Eustace also traveled 800 meters across the Kerala in 21 days, demonstrating his strong belief in horsepower and his love of using it. There were also claims that Eustace had started teaching environmental ethics long before it became popular, saying things like, "Americans have separated themselves from the natural world." He would frequently comment, "Horses can have babies, cars can't. We have advanced so quickly over the last 80 years that we are attempting to run like babies. It would be prudent for us to slow down and gain more knowledge about primitive first values," he added. "More than ever we must comprehend nature and live in balance and peace with it." Since man apart from nature is a fiction, many people were not shocked when Eustace strayed a bit in the direction of the teaching line. His parents and grandparents were educators, and his grandfather, Chief Johnson, established Camp Sequoia in 1924, making him one of the pioneers of American camping. A great American, he started the Turtle Island program, which would later serve as the basis for the Sequoia program, and it was essential to the development and growth of the community. Growing up in a log home with a large stone fireplace at Sequoia, where she was surrounded by nature and learned a lot about it, Eustace's mother didn't stop there. She went on to complete her education, obtain her master's degree, and start teaching. Her husband, Dr. Eustace Conway, a chemical engineering professor, is an enthusiastic outdoor enthusiast. Since hiking runs in the family, it is no surprise that Eustace was bold and unstoppable. His father would frequently take him along when he was younger, and he loved every moment of it. Records showed that he had once hiked 50 miles of mountain trails in a single day. When he was only 4 years old, he started going on whitewater canoe trips. Eustace did everything and learned everything, but in 1987, he had a lifelong dream, Turtle Island Preserve, where he wanted to build a 1,000-acre wildlife preserve and an environmental education center near Boone, North Carolina. His time with his father also helped him understand the value of education, which naturally led to his desire to learn and teach. As an educator, he loved to uphold Emerson's quote, "What you do speaks so loud that I cannot hear what you say." He built it, and in the preserve, he made sure that people fell in love with nature. The Turtle Island Preserve meant a lot to Eustace, and he made this clear when he said, "When I first walked on this land, Turtle Island, I knew I had found the sacred ground I had been searching for. It aligned with the picture I'd had since I was a child, secluded, unspoiled valleys that would remain wild forever. That week I purchased the first 107-acre tract. Since then we have added a lot more tracts, constructed a farm out of the forest, and implemented an experiential education-based program. Hard labor and simply real became our credo. Our everyday motto is focused and determined." Eustace's life was certainly nice. He had no idea what else fate had in store for him, and it wasn't good. When he joined the TV show Mountain Men, his problems started. He nearly lost his reputation and everything else as a result of the series, which concentrated on his everyday activities of doing chores and preparing meals for the next winter. Men from the Mountains. On May 31, 2012, the History Channel debuted the American reality television series Mountain Men. Because of its cast, the show has become very popular. But there were ugly tales that suggested the mountain men might not be as real as many believed. Let's first examine the lives of the cast members who helped make Mountain Men well known. Eustace Conway is first on the list. Eustace calls the piece of property in North Carolina's Blue Ridge Mountains his Turkey Island. Eustace hosts guests on the island and instructs them in the fundamentals of outdoor survival. Because of his enormous effect, Mountain Men became one of the most popular television shows. Eustace also makes money by harvesting firewood using antiquated methods. Both he and the audience had fun. But that was about to change when he had to struggle to keep his land when it was endangered. In addition to Eustace, he was joined by his friend Preston Roberts, who made frequent appearances on the show. Marty Meyer-Arado is another cast member. Marty, his wife Dominique and their daughter Noah reside in the tiny Alaskan hamlet of Two Rivers. Marty frequently flew his Piper Super Cub with Tundra tires to his cabin on the Alaska North Slopes Drangik River once a month. He collected furs by tending to his animal traps with a snowmobile whenever he was there. The audience was astonished and thrilled whenever he did this. Tom R. is another intriguing cast member. Tom, a former rodeo cowboy, lives with his wife Nancy and their dog Ellie in northwest Montana, close to the Yak River. The couple had to deal with a 7-month winter along the road, but they put a lot of effort into getting ready. They also received assistance from their neighbors. Tom has a distinct life. By employing Native American techniques, he became a skilled tanner of game animal pelts. The other is Rich Lewis, who hunts mountain lions. Lewis enjoys killing lions more than most people do. He and his spouse Diane live in the Ruby Valley in Montana. With the aid of a group of hounds, he fervently tracked mountain lions. The show received good ratings and exposure as viewers watched the excitement, thrill and sweat trickle off him. Regretfully, he stated in season 6 that he was growing too old to continue pursuing the lions. He did not appear on the show for season 7 as a result. On the set too was George Micho. He was a fur trapper who set up camp in Idaho along the Teton Range and Snake River. George didn't mind the difficult life he led. Charlie Tucker has also been added to the set. Like George, Tucker is a fur trapper who lives in Ashland, Maine, close to Great Woods. He frequently collaborates with Jim Dumond. Kyle Bell worked as an outfitter and game hunter. He doesn't pillage the forest while he goes hunting. Instead, he hunts across 45,000 acres of untamed terrain. Additionally, Kyle and his 10-year-old son Ben live in the Cimarron Valley in New Mexico. In contrast, Morgan Beasley and his partner Margaret Stern live in the Alaska Range. Records show that the two are certified bush pilots. The reality show also had Jason Hawk. He owned Jason Hawk's Outlaw Forge Works and was a great blacksmith. His family resides in Arkansas, close to the Ozarks. Preston remained with them on the show until the tragedy in July. Preston reportedly passed away on July 24, 2017, at the age of 60, following complications related to his disease. Eustace loved and cherished his friend, so the loss was personal, yet he was forced to let go. He used a variety of methods to convey his intense suffering. Eustace penned a memorial to Preston for the Turtle Island Preserve. He talked about the friendship and support he had in his life, as well as how he felt at losing his best buddy. He continuously improved the lives of thousands of students and friends, he stated. He went on to say that Preston was among the most sincere people he had ever encountered. Eustace also revealed that he loved his wife more fully, devotedly, and generously when Preston was still living. Eustace requested donations to the GoFundMe in Preston's name. He thanked all of the donors after collecting the money, and said that a portion of the proceeds will go toward fixing Preston's home's leaky roof. Eustace found Preston to be one of the most macho men he had ever encountered, in addition to being a nice friend. Additionally, he disclosed that he would always prefer to have him at his side in a conflict. But I want to leave you with a rare and intimate photograph of Preston, half naked in winter, wearing a pink tutu, trying to bring his beloved wife Kathleen to smile as she battled her cancer, he wrote in his tribute. Eustace concluded his post with a quote about crying and shared that he was still crying about his friend's death to this day. He also posted a picture of Preston on Facebook with the message, "Rest easy Preston James Roberts." His plan worked, she smiled and made it. Preston's love for Kathleen and good work knew no bounds. Eustace wrote that the loss they were experiencing was indescribable, and that Turtle Island would host a celebration of life ceremony for the mountain man. Preston Roberts passed away at 3:30 p.m. on Monday, July 24, 2017 in the arms of his beloved wife Kathleen, surrounded by family and loved ones, due to complications from an inoperable tumor on his liver. After his death, his son Joseph Roberts made multiple appearances in the seasons. Eustace struggled emotionally and physically in the following episode without Preston by his side. Preston was his right-hand man, and his absence meant that Eustace was struggling to work their lumber business alone, unable to meet orders without help. Mike Horseman was added to the roster. Jake Herrick, who lives in Montana's Tobacco Route Mountains, was another mountain lion hunter on the show who demonstrated exceptional talent and mastery. His presence was reassuring, but not enough so for the team members who had come to adore Preston. Last on the list are the Huron brothers, Kid and Harry. Josh Kirk, a game hunter and ranch manager, who lived in Wyoming's Wind River Range with his wife Bonnie and their daughter Aiden. Mike, a bear hunting guide who lives on Kodiak Island in Alaska with his dog Adele. Being featured on the reality TV show was a big accomplishment for these brothers, who worked as game hunters and cattle ranchers in Idaho's Sawtooth National Forest, also called the Sawtooth Wilderness. Kid and Harry were the first to be the subject of rumors and scandals surrounding the Mountain Men, with many speculating that they had an accident on set. That's serious, isn't it? Let's see if there's any truth to this. Kid and Harry were put in a different kind of danger during one of their live streams, which naturally focused on the Mountain Men's survival skills and how they can overcome their obstacles, but this time, the threat to their lives wasn't the wilderness. The episode, Tom's Big Day, featured a freak ATV accident that sent Kid and Harry into a dangerous freefall. Jake going on ranch patrol to protect newborn calves, Nancy giving Tom the surprise of his life, Josh trying to tame a feral house cat, and Jason busy salvaging farming equipment to keep the blade smithing operation going. They were all too preoccupied with other things to notice Todd and Kid getting into trouble. In the episode's preview, cameras captured Kid and Harry riding an ATV on terrain with little to no traction, and viewers claimed to hear one of the men say, "The brakes are out." The ATV began to descend while Harry was still operating the vehicle. Many people were terrified by this, and viewers wanted to know if Harry had survived the descent safely. This sparked a lot of rumors and conjecture. Was this the first time Kid and Harry were in danger because of the show? No. But the episode ended up being their wildest episode ever, and the terrifying accident did not result in their deaths. Today both of them are doing well and all right. Kid has been updating his Facebook page on a regular basis, and on July 29th he shared a picture of himself and his family with the caption, "Spending time with my family in the beautiful wilderness." Harry keeps up with Kid's example, and made sure to update their Facebook family. He recently posted a preview for an episode of Mountain Men in early July after the Kid and Harry incident. Another problem with the Mountain Men was that the show started to lose its popularity and notoriety, because at one point the plot revolved around Jake Herrick and his dogs, which bored the audience. However, the greater setback occurred when people began to believe. Additionally, Kid and Harry Huron started to lose the affection and respect of the audience, and the allegations that the Mountain Men reality program was contrived and not as authentic as many believed intensified. Over the years there have been numerous posts and articles about how Mountain Men allegedly made up the danger and drama, which naturally upset their audience accustomed to watching reality shows with scripts. Several viewers have also criticized the children and Harry's plot for potentially being staged. When viewers grew disinterested in the two brothers' content after weeks of riding their horses through the mountains, they began using explosives to blow up a beaver dam in an attempt to attract attention, but they were eventually exposed as fake. One viewer wrote, "Sorry, but I'm over these two nitwits." According to Mao, "I don't understand how anyone could think of them as ranch workers or mountain men." Also, Tom Moore told the Billings Gazette, "Obviously it's not every day that something goes wrong. Therefore, in order to add interest, producers often have to make things appear more dangerous than they actually are." As much as people wanted to believe them, they were hurt. Eustace Conway's struggles. Many people thought that Mountain Men could have caused Eustace's tragedy, because his life was less chaotic before he joined the reality series. Tom claims that they frequently make things dangerous to keep the show going and more lively. But after exposing Turtle Island on television, so many problems surfaced that he almost lost his land. Let's relax and enjoy the juicy news that lies ahead. Eustace had to rely on his apprentices and interns to take care of Turtle Island Preserve, but he detested the tax-exempt regulatory system. The Watauga County Planning and Inspection Department looked into Turtle Island after a complaint was filed against him, claiming that Eustace Turtle Island Preserve was constructed illegally. He relied on a constant flow of paying campers, took care of his business, and detested outside interference. The county attorney gave Eustace 3 options after a thorough search revealed many structures for which no permits had ever been pulled: bring the buildings up to the minimum state standards, have an expert certify that they already met the code and obtain the proper permits, or tear them down. The county attorney cited numerous violations of the Health and Safety Code. According to County Planning Director Joe Furman, the conflict began in late spring of 2012 when they received an anonymous call that contained information about Eustace's illegal buildings. It was a difficult investigation, but there were rumors that it was more than just a routine one, and it was obvious that Eustace was being singled out. They were forced to look into Eustace after a week when they received an unmarked envelope with a poorly drawn but extremely detailed color-coded map that included wiring, buildings and road grading, all of which were purportedly done without the required engineering, permission, or inspections. The inspectors then inspected his property and found that the building did not have the minimum water and sewer connections, that all the buildings were built from on-site wood mill instead of the marked graded lumber required by building codes, that a small workshop is supplied by a micro-hydroelectric plant installed by students from ASU's Appropriate Technology program, and that solar panels power the equipment in Eustace's small office. The more they looked, the more sick things they found. Eagle connections, unpermitted outhouses for public use, a wood stove with a vented chimney under a building's metal roof instead of through it, and wiring and junction boxes that did not meet code, the inspectors reported.